Remember what I told you, right?
Yeah,
Bless him.
it's called man business.
What started off as a rap rivalry evolved into a personal dispute. 50 Cent turned a music dispute into an extensively publicized and unsettling battle by entangling T.Y.'s family in the controversy. As the battle progressed from the stage to something far more intense, millions of people watched as boundaries were crossed and respect was betrayed. The spark sparked the fuse. Since this wasn't an isolated incident, like some unverified internet rumor, let's start at the beginning. The dispute between T.I. 50 Cent as well brewed for a long time, primarily related to talks of a potential Versus clash that never happened. For the uninitiated, Versus was a live-streamed hit-for-hit competition series that enthralled the entire culture throughout the pandemic era. On Instagram Live, everyone discussed collections, which resulted in some unforgettable fights. At one point, it appeared that 50 Cent and T.Y. may clash was a sincere conversation. But according to Tip, this wasn't just a blog rumor or something a fan made up on Twitter. He says they genuinely argued face-to-face about doing this. T.I. According to reports, the Versus issue naturally arose while they were both in Los Angeles, honing some TV techniques, as though it were the next logical step. I talked to you back there, bro. It's not anything I just pointed out, yes.
Me and this talk back there, bro. Yeah, I ain't just called the blue.
And Tip wasn't being evasive either. He described every detail of the situation, including how the conversation developed, how they both agreed on a plan, and how he was supposed to go first and set the table.
I said, what you think about that? Like, you want to do that? Say, yeah.
Then, Tip broke the contract. He told 50 that 50 would follow him and confirm everything when he went out first, and created a lot of excitement and commotion in the streets. Isn't it really easy to play? Easy. No smoke, no mirrors.
And I told him, I said, well, I'm gonna jump out there first, and then you just gonna jump out there and we'll line it up. And he said, all right.
But this is the point at which everything went awry. T.I. asserts that 50 Cent changed after going public and starting to disseminate the information, pretending that he was unaware of what was happening, and that all of those conversations were the result of Tip's imagination.
And when I jump out there, like he ain't know what the going on.
And that's precisely when T.Y. asserts that they had a lasting breakup. It wasn't because 50 didn't want to fight. Nah, bro. I'm good on that. I don't want to rock with it. Honor the honesty. Tip said he would have been fine with 50 keeping it a buck. Keep moving. However, 50 apparently dapped him up, agreed to the whole thing, and then feigned to be foolish when it came time to pull up. This was the snake move. That was the betrayal.
Then that's what it was about. I don't even want to, man. Cause now I question your character.
Now, let me put this in the proper context. T.I. didn't just make a fleeting reference to this in one podcast episode. No, relatives. On a number of platforms, including the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, he spoke candidly. He expressed to the public his disinterest in sharing the stage with 50 Cent. That was the end of that chapter.
I don't want to stand on stage with him. I had no interest in standing on stage with that.
The tone for all that came next was set when he lowered the bar.
I don't respect him.
If you know anything about 50 Cent, I mean, anything at all about how this man gets down, you already know what time it was. Because Curtis Jackson is not the type of person who just takes it personally when someone says, I don't respect you, on a podcast. That's not his steez. That has never been his steez. The receipts on that go back literally decades. So let's keep it stacked, family. Throughout his career, 50 Cent has been running up on individuals, and his beefs all follow the same pattern. If someone says something slick and 50 fire back, it escalates until one side taps out or is totally burnt. That's the play. That's how the play has always been. What is crazy about the 1999 J. Rule War, the game incident in the middle of the 2000s, Rick Ross, Diddy, and pretty much everyone else who ever spoke out about Curtis Jackson III, sometimes the simplest of reasons led to the start of these feuds. Take the example of Rick Ross. Family. That's it. Day 1 G-Unit soldier Tony Yayo, who was in his 50s, described how the whole situation started when he sat down on Club Shay Shay.
Ross and 50, right? Ross is not, they got a beef because 50 didn't say what up to him. That's just a New York thing.
That's all it was. A man's silence during an award event led to years of personal jabs and trash tapes. We are part of that ecosystem. Consequently, when T.I. There was no chance that he would face any kind of reaction when he openly declared on national platforms that he didn't respect 50 Cent as a guy. Nothing. 50 Cent informed T.I. on Instagram to refrain from mentioning me and started scolding Atlanta musicians for their inconsistent backing. A back-and-forth conversation about a music altercation abruptly escalated into something far more explosive. As the temperature and energy changed, 50 Cent started reaching into the bag, the same bag he has been reaching into for almost 25 years whenever someone decides to poke the bear and see what happens. Because people need to know this information regarding Fif. When this man decides to come for you, he doesn't just do it. Everything inside your zone of influence is his objective. Your career, your skeletons, your reputation, your past, and yes, your family. He did it to Rick Ross after obtaining a whole video featuring Ross's baby mama. He did it to Diddy when he started making documentaries about his private life. And now he was going to hurt T.Y. in February 2026, in the most personal, demeaning, and disrespectful way possible. And that brings us to the moment when everything was completely upended. The moment when a rap feud turned into a full-fledged family dispute. Because on February 22nd, 2026, 50 Cent did something that made the internet go berserk. And to be honest, you should have expected it when the operations went personal if you've been watching this man's behavior. You have to understand who we mean when we talk about King Harris's mother. Before we can talk about what transpired next, there is more to Tamika Tiny Harris than just being T.I.'s wife. She is more than simply a regular person who got caught up in an unrelated rap war. Grammy-winning singer Tiny Harris is a member of the legendary R&B group Xscape, which was selling out shows and moving units at a time when half of the Instagram commenters weren't even considered by their parents. She married T.I., returned in 2010, and they started a family that currently includes King Harris, their son, born in 2004. The fact that this woman has her own accolades, legacy, and purse has nothing to do with her husband's relationship with the man from South Jamaica, Queens. And with good reason. The internet went crazy over what 50 did next, because on February 22nd, 2026, 50 Cent posted a bizarre, derogatory photo of Tiny Harris right on his Instagram. The photo showed Tiny at a concert in a tight attire, with her skirt hiked up in a way that was obviously meant to make her appear silly and annoy T.I. And I'm being incredibly delicate when I say unflattering. The caption, which was 50, also restated what he had been saying all along. I keep saying, keep my name out of your mouth. Okay, so this was met with an immediate and siren-like response. Websites like Hot New Hip Hop and Complex immediately denounced it, calling the move a violation of the unwritten rules that have been a part of hip-hop culture since the beginning of time, and characterizing the beef as getting personal and nasty. I'm talking about the code that lets you joke about a man's bars. You can doubt his street cred. You can criticize his work decisions all day long, but you don't bring up his lady. You shouldn't bring someone else's rib into a dispute that she didn't initiate or participate in. But 50 Cent has never been one to abide by other people's unwritten standards. If we maintain it all quirky, he is also a part of his individuality. The man has built his entire empire on the principle that there are no boundaries, no sacred ground, and no area that is off limits when he chooses to go to war with you. He is also one of the most lethal people to oppose in the history of this game, due of such mentality. Which brings us to King Harris. If you thought that the publication of the picture of Tiny by 50 was the catalyst, you were totally wrong. Only the fuse illumination was affected. King Harris, a T.I., born in August 2004, was the source of the actual explosion, as well as Tiny's son, a teenage rapper who has become well known for his aggressive behavior on social media. Having grown up watching his parents deal with the most extreme drama and celebrity on reality TV, this young bull has lived his entire life in the spotlight. When he saw what 50 Cent had posted about his mother, he didn't even pause to think. To 10, he was unable to count. He didn't consult anyone. Without hesitation, he arrived at the gram. King launched an unrestrained, foul-mouthed outburst on Instagram to protect his mother. Everyone on the internet was horrified by his violent, unfiltered, and insulting remarks. I want everyone to listen carefully to what King had to say, because he wasn't simply criticizing rapper 50 Cent. 50 Cent was not the only TV producer or businessman he targeted. He assaulted 50 Cent, the orphan. He went after Curtis Jackson's most severe wound. He kept bringing up 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who perished in a suspicious fire when Curtis was just 8 years old. King told 50 to go dig up his mother, who had passed away. On camera, I won't even repeat the foul language he used to describe Sabrina Jackson in this video. He then made the parallel that he felt gave him the advantage, sharing a photo of a tombstone with the caption, "This where your mama at." The most disgusting depiction of 50's late mother you can imagine, contrasted with his references to Tiny as a legend, a Grammy winner, and a queen. It all went ludicrously viral in a matter of hours. Millions of people watched the videos on YouTube and Instagram Reels, trying to understand what a 21-year-old had just said in real time. Isn't this where the internet comes in? When something like this happens, people tend to take sides immediately. There were differing views on this one online. Some claimed that King had every right to ride in that manner in support of his mother. That if your mother is publicly insulted by a buffoon, you have the right to go nuclear. However, a lot of people thought that talking about a man's mother, who died when he was still a small child, was a barrier that should never be crossed. For a while, Total Stop, one expert who dissected the situation correctly, described the madness of how rapidly things had gotten out of hand. All of us have committed technical fouls, okay?
Technical fouls on everybody, okay? Like, how did we get here from a versus battle?
We went from two originals fighting over a music competition to tombstone images, deceased mothers, and family members being dragged through the internet muck in a matter of days. So
we just wanted 20 songs versus 20 songs. Now we got people, you know, being called federal informants.
It's a wonderful question to ask. Hey, how did we get here from a versus battle? And it was the families that caught everyone off guard.
And people's wives and mothers being insulted. Like, how did all this escalate so quick?
50 Cent's intensity was not on par with King's, regardless of whether you support the move. He will not shout into the live camera on his phone. A tearful, 20-minute tirade was not uploaded by him. No, he responded to the challenge in the same way that 50 Cent usually does. He pushed the issue to the verge of being forgotten by sharing a Pepe the Frog meme on the gram with the straightforward remark, LOL, without even using words. 50 poked fun of King. A cartoon frog is making fun of the youngin'. That was it. That was the whole response. Furthermore, if you have been following 50's actions for more than 2 decades, you know that the message was so clear that the reaction was far more damaging than any tirade or diss track could ever be. You're not even worthy of anger, little brother. The resulting footage rocked the entire timeline. The one that really made people sit up and realize, oh, 50 is on demon time. 50 Cent shared an AI-edited video clip from the 2006 movie ATL, which originally starred T.I. In this video, 50's face is also deep-faked onto a character as they attack a baby cat. The conversation also focused like a laser on King Harris.
What's up, man? I ain't heard from you in a while.
He was checking in pretty casually, as though he hadn't seen his little friend in a while. Very informal, the conversation then shifts to something much more poignant.
Remember what I told you, right?
Yeah,
What happened?
it's called man business.
Mature business. The message was summed up in 4 terms. Little brother, return. This lane isn't for you. This weight class does not include you. Stay put. In addition to being funny,
Boom! Ooh, got your ass. Scary as hell, man.
the video's ending was also frightening. 50 Cent used AI technology as a weapon and reversed a movie that T.Y. The caption simply read, "Grown man boy." He was the main character and delivered a speech that was both humorous and quietly threatening. Some called it genius-level trolling. Some called it pricey and unsettling. But this is the most crucial thing. Everyone was talking about it, and it has always been the focus of the entire act with 50. It is not necessary for him to win the moral debate. He just needs to win the attention game to stay undefeated. The entire family during and after the war. At this point, you might have thought the story would end. Maybe you thought that after King Harris's first outburst, the meme, and the AI deepfake joint, everyone would back off, get their breath, and realized that this had all gone too far. But no, you don't know these people if you thought that, because the smoke was only beginning to appear. T.I. He went into 50's first tiny posts comments section. As one might expect from a man whose wife had just been defiled in front of millions of people online, his response was exactly that. "You can post a fat on a unicycle juggling in a snowstorm," he said. "You remain a monarch, okay, so you can say anything you want about T.I. But the man has always had a knack of combining words to make an impression that you can't get rid of, even if you wanted to." Even though his comment was ridiculous, it was clear that he was fully supporting his child without raising any concerns. On his Instagram stories, Tip also openly endorsed King, writing, "You can win BCU, a good man, a good dad, and a good person." But because T.I. is an MC first and foremost, therefore he did what MCs do when he spotted smoke. He hit the lab. T.I. composed and published the song War, which was a frontal assault on the image, history, and reputation of 50. Tip's delivery of the song's explicit bars, which were aimed at Fifth, was lyrically caustic, reminding everyone why this artist had been in the conversation for over 20 years. One commentator who was disrupting the situation offered Tip roses since he was still able to spit like that.
Hey boy, T.I. has never lost his rapping mojo. You hear me?
After years of playing the game, the gospel truth is right there. No matter how you feel about the man, or what you think of his decisions outside of the booth, when T.I., the outcomes speak for themselves each time he picks up his pen and places it in his bag.
Folks just didn't care for whatever reason, but Dime Trap and The Libra and Us or Else and Trouble Man, Heavy as the Head, all those were dope albums.
In reality, that was not how people had been searching for recommendations in the past. Culture had sort of moved on, as is frequently the case. But because of the whole tumultuous situation,
But T.I. has never slacked lyrically or musically. Y'all just care now, and I'm actually happy y'all do.
Now T.I. back to spit.
people were instantly focused and attentive. Meanwhile, King Harris was far from finished. The little boy was only getting warmed up. King came back on February 23rd and 24th, even more enraged. He discovered a 2004 court recording in which 50 Cent freely admitted to hitting 3 women while performing. "All you do is apply pressure to females," he captioned it. "Proceed to the chimney with that smoke. I'm just getting started." Then King took it a step further. He posted what media sources called a lengthy dissertation on his Instagram stories, compiling what amounted to a greatest hits compilation of 50 Cent's most embarrassing and controversial incidents during his career: being wounded by 9 gunshots, losing to Kanye West and graduation in the sales fight, feuds in the past with nearly every relevant artist, drama at home, his whole Trump situation, the split from his oldest son, Marquise Jackson. King made sure the public opinion jury had all the required receipts by going over everything like a prosecution would when presenting evidence in court. King then did something that really frightened people to a whole other level. "You think you're raising a man having him sit in your lap as a teenager?" he said, tweeting a photo of 50 Cent's younger son, Sire Jackson, sitting on his lap. "That's a gentleman." That particular joint crossed an entirely other boundary. Up until that time, this fight was between adults, or at the very least, between an adult and a young man who voluntarily entered the fray. But a lot of people, including those who had been riding with King up until that point, were really upset about dragging a child, who had nothing to do with any of this drama, into the mayhem. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about what was really going on beneath all of this chaos. Because while the posts, videos, and diss recordings were getting all the attention and headlines, a more comprehensive conversation about the cultural importance of this entire fight was occurring. Additionally, the topic of debate was how various generations manage conflict in different ways. Think about that for a moment. The 50-year-old 50 Cent harassed his competitors using Pepe memes and AI deepfake technology. Each post is neat, thorough, and surgical. He didn't say anything, never showing emotion. Just a heartless performance. Then there was King Harris, age 21, who went live on the gram with raw, pure emotional outbursts that included tears. 2 completely different approaches to the same problem, the unpleasant feeling that many people were feeling as they watched everything happen.
Like, you know, going back and forth in the studio, cool, but when it starts going left and right, it's like,
Was also captured by one commenter on the incident. The key argument was that the issue had stopped being about music long before we got to this chapter.
Honestly, what his wife got to do with anything? You know, the family thing. It's just weird. Them two brothers got a problem.
Which is why so many people believed it to be so incorrect. Most individuals were feeling that way. It should have stayed between T.I. 50 Cent as well. Together, these two icons have enough classic recordings and decades of experience to wrap up a whole festival. Instead, attention turned to wives, mothers who had passed away, helpless children.
That's what y'all gonna do. At the moment you bring somebody's family into it, it gets crazy. So I totally understand why King went off.
And graveyard memes that were extensively circulated online for public admiration. In fact, that's where this whole complicated issue ends up. Because both sides ultimately raised valid concerns and crossed significant lines. 50 Cent's internet posting of that tiny photo was totally out of place. She was not involved in this beef. She didn't mention Fif at all. She was sheer collateral damage, a pawn in a chess game between two guys who should have kept the smoke between themselves and King. King had every reason to be angry at his mother's fate. Any son would be. It is a hurt that never goes away, though, to pursue a man's deceased mother, a woman who was taken from this world when the man was a little child and had no say in the process, and picking at it online in front of millions of people. That isn't protecting you, family. That is the use of a person's most extreme trauma as a content weapon. By going even farther, on February 25th, and dropping a whole diss track that was meant to bury 50 Cent, King demonstrated that he wasn't going to slow down anytime soon and kept his foot on the gas pedal. Furthermore, 50 Cent remained unconcerned as usual, focusing on his business ventures, especially his Broadway attempts, while reposting memes and podcast clips that ridiculed King and Tiny. Normal behavior for Fif.
If you had an altercation or you did something to me that made me feel like I had to get you, I wouldn't stop.
For Fif. Don't let them see you scared, but let them know you're always alert and ready to strike back.
Until I got you. You see what I'm saying? Because then we stopped the rap. Done rapping, we start doing something else.
Thank you for watching. By clicking on one of the boxes that are now playing on your screen, you can see more videos that are similar to this one.